What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ben on Sports. Today's episode is the NASCAR weekly prediction episode, weekly preview episodes. NASCAR going from Nashville, Tennessee, all the way up to the Irish Hills of Michigan to not one of the fastest track in NASCAR, even though they've taken a little bit of speed out of it recently. I personally am part of the let's go back to 220 miles an hour team, but I digress. Let's get into it. Some storylines this week. Denny Hamlin stays hot, picking up a race win, getting cutting the points lead to Tyler Reddick a little bit. Finally has a little bit of luck go his way. There's been at least twice this year where I feel like he was leading the race and had the best car. A late race caution comes out and it causes him to lose the race. This time it goes the other way. He was not winning that race. He was not the fastest car. Caution comes out and it helps him win the race after a good restart. More Toyota dominance. It felt like Larson was fast and Blaney was fast. Maybe even Elliott had some speed, but it seemed to me that the clear and away four best cars until strategy messed it up were Bell, Briscoe, Hamlin, and Reddick. All Toyotas. Toyota seemed fast yet again. I don't know what it is, but Toyota seemed to have something that the rest of the field doesn't this season, and that continued this week at Nashville. Is SVG becoming a real contender? He moved up in points again, had a solid day, finished in the top 10 again. Maybe for SVG, it's more about qualifying. He talks about how much better he likes his car when he's running up front. I think everybody does. But and using when they use the metric, he can just stay up front in a sense, right? So I'm wondering if SVG just needs to qualify better, but he's been routinely one of the fastest Chevys, routinely faster than his teammates. SVG is doing really, really well on ovals this season. I guess Ross Chastain was fast this week, and we never got to see what it led to because of his brake rotor blowing up. But SVG, he might be becoming a real contender. You know what he's going to do on the road courses. You know he's going to score a whole bunch of points there. But now he's putting together consistently good days on ovals, and that should be scary for the rest of the field if he can continue to do it, consistently do it. Corey Heim news. He will be going full-time in the Cup Series next year for 23XI. Riley Herbst will no longer be there, and maybe it sounds like Riley Herbst will land on his feet. But Corey Heim, maybe one of the highest potential drivers in the lower series. Yes, he's made some rookie mistakes, but he's also shown that he can run with speed at 23XI. I think Corey Heim next year is going to have some good races, and I think within the next couple of years, he's going to be pretty darn good at 23XI. I like this signing by 23XI. Corey Heim has kind of forced Toyota's hand. He's been so good as a development driver for them, and has just been knocking the door down, and he's finally getting his opportunity next season to go Cup racing. In some ways, it was a war of attrition at Nashville. You had equipment manufacturers, you had people wrecking all over the place, a lot of cautions, which made the race go late. I'm not getting into that. I like longer races. You can't help when the weather delays the race. Maybe if you start late races, you should try and make it so they're not 4+ hours long. I don't mind longer races, though. I think it's good for NASCAR, especially when you have so many planned cautions with stage breaks and they're running so many caution laps. I like longer races because I like to see long green flag runs and who can save their tires and who can be fast over the long run, not just a whole bunch of short runs where strategy can mess things up. But yeah, kind of a war of attrition, a lot of wrecks. I think there was 10 DNFs this week, which was not very good for some guys in their point situation. There was some drama. Brad Keselowski, I would have to disagree with you. I don't think Austin Dillon intentionally wrecked you. I definitely think it was just more of a racing incident. Yeah, maybe he didn't want to lift as bad for you. But I digress. I do not think that was an intentional wreck. Just since it was an accusation that's been discussed in the NASCAR world this week, I think that was just more Austin Dillon not being able to slow down fast enough and Keselowski getting wrecked for it. Hocevar was putting people in bad spots all day. I know that's a shocker. Blaney seems to have some beef with Shane Van Gisbergen about missing turns, all kinds of stuff. Nashville had a short track feel on Sunday night after the rain delay, with a lot of people, let's just say, pushing the envelope. And maybe part of that was because it was hard to pass, especially over long green flag runs. Unless you were significantly faster, had a significant tire advantage, it felt like it was hard to pass. Maybe they Goodyear Tire Compound has done a good job this year making the racing better, making the passing better on a car that in its early tenure has had mixed results with that. I will be interested to see if they change anything for Nashville and the tracks similar to it. But it was a little bit hard to pass. Still, we're treated to a good race because of all of the cautions. And then number 7, if you guys haven't, on Friday, Prime and NASCAR released a NASCAR versus Navy mini movie. It's about a half hour long. It is kind of in celebration, kind of promotional content for the Father's Day race coming up, the 250 in San Diego, the road course on Coronado. And it's a fun little thing. It's, not the best acting, not the worst acting, has a lot of humorous bits to it. It's just meant to be a fun promotional concept. It has some of the, I assume, real Navy crew members in it. There's some planes, there's some cars, and your favorite NASCAR drivers. It's the same ones that have been doing a lot of the promotional videos that you've seen. It's Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney's kind of the leader, Carson Hocevar, Noah Gragson, and Connor Zilich. Those are the 6 drivers featured. It's an interesting thing. Go watch it. Show Prime that the NASCAR that the NASCAR fans are going to continue to support the sport, because Prime's broadcasts are really, really good. Would it really be the worst thing in the world in the future if Prime's like, wow, NASCAR's really supporting us, why don't we go get more races? I don't think that'd be the worst thing in the world, because Prime, just like they did last year, so far has had really good production value, and it's making the races so much more fun to watch. Let's get into breaking down some next-gen history at Michigan, recent winners. Well, Kevin Harvick won the first next-gen race here. I think that was his last win. His last wins were in 2022 when he went back-to-back at Michigan and Richmond. I forget which one was first. Chris Buescher, another Ford, won in 2023. And then in 2024, Toyota in 23XI with Tyler Reddick broke up a long Ford winning streak. Ford has dominated at Michigan the last decade or so, decade plus. But Tyler Reddick ended their long winning streak in 2024. And then last year, Denny Hamlin put Toyota's winning streak at 2, winning last June's race. Best average finish, Denny Hamlin, 4, averaging the top 5 in the next-gen era at Michigan. Chris Buescher, one of those Fords, at 6.3. Ty Gibbs, another JGR Toyota, at 6.8. Zane Smith, maybe a surprising name, an average finish of 7 here. And Brad Keselowski, another RFK Ford, at 8.5. Most top 5 finishes at Michigan. Denny Hamlin has 3. 5 drivers have a 2, and Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, and Ty Gibbs. And then 4 drivers have 1 top 5 finish at Michigan: Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Joey Logano, and Tyler Reddick. A lot of familiar names near the front of this, quite a few Fords. Not a lot of Chevys named yet either. And then most top 10s, Denny Hamlin has the only driver in the field that has a top 10 every next-gen race at Michigan. 4 drivers tied at 3. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Larson. And then 6 drivers tied at 2. Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, and Zane Smith. There you see some Trackhouse stats. Maybe Trackhouse can build on some of the speed they had before they wrecked last week, as 2 of their drivers have finished in the top 10 half the races here. But other than that, you don't see a lot of Chevys outside of Larson and Byron, and they are kind of the top tier of Chevy, I would say. So who are my favorites to win with that history? Well, I think RFK has to be up there. You see how good Keselowski and Buescher both are. RFK hasn't hit victory lane. Ford hasn't won in quite a while this season. And I believe Ford only has one victory with Ryan Blaney, so Ford is going to be hungry. They love racing at Michigan. They've been very good at Michigan. Give me RFK Racing as the favorite this week. Joe Gibbs is second. Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs have been two of the four best drivers here. The other two have been RFK cars. So I think those teams are the clear favorite this weekend. Then give me Team Penske. Logano and Blaney have both been good here. I think Cindric will have some speed. And I've already talked about how good Ford is at Michigan. So I expect to see Team Penske, especially because all those drivers I think need a good run. See if they can come out and run top 10. 23XI has a win here. Bubba Wallace has good numbers here with 23XI. Other than Reddick's win, I would say Bubba Wallace has outperformed Reddick. 23XI has been fast at pretty much every track we've gone to. Give me 23XI to be good this week. And then it feels weird to have Hendrick at 5, but I'm going to put Hendrick at 5. The speed hasn't been as consistent for everybody on the team. They haven't won here in the next gen era. It's been a long time since Chevy has won at Michigan. They are probably the best Chevy team that's best suited to break that winless drought at Michigan. Larson and Byron have been fast, but outside of that, not a whole lot for Hendrick. Hendrick is my 5th favorite because they should really never be outside of the top 5. Individual driver favorites. Give me Denny Hamlin one most recent race winner here. He's won the last 2 races, the All-Star race and then last week at Nashville. And he has the best stats at Michigan. I think Denny Hamlin's your favorite this week. Then give me a pair of RFK drivers in 2nd and 3rd. Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski have been fast here in the next gen. They're Ford's best chance at winning this weekend, potentially. They have consistency. They've been near the front a lot. They've been running in the top 10 a lot. They're both in good points positions. They both would love a good run, and I think they have it this weekend. Ty Gibbs, kind of the 4th best driver. I think these top 4, Hamlin, Buescher, Keselowski, and Gibbs, have been clearly the best 4 drivers in the next-gen era at this track. I think that continues this week. I think all 4 of them are going to be looking for top 5 kind of days. And then Ryan Blaney had a solid week last week in Nashville. Maybe could have came away with more points. He did win a stage. But Ford hadn't won in a while. Ford has one win this week or this year by Ryan Blaney. They need to get back into victory lane. Ryan Blaney at a track Ford is very good at as Ford's best driver. I think Ryan Blaney has a good week this week. Tyler Reddick won this race 2 years ago. Tyler Reddick's worst finish this year is 15th? Tyler Reddick is essentially getting top 10s every single week. He's fast at every track. He has the driver ability to be fast at every track with his team giving him fast cars. I think Tyler Reddick, right now, it's hard to leave him out of the top 10 at any individual track. Bubba Wallace, I said, has good stats here, and he needs a good finish. He's been sinking like a rock in points. A lot of it's because of mistakes or getting caught up in other people's wrecks. Bubba's been caught up in a lot of people's wrecks. He mentioned it last week at Nashville. Bubba really needs a good finish. He has good numbers here. I think Bubba, especially if qualifying comes, should be able to run around the top 10 all day. William Byron, struggling. He's outside the top 10 in points, and we're 15 points races into the season, 14 points races into the season. William Byron needs a good run. He's run well here in the past. Chevy is going to want to be good. I think William Byron finds a way to run well this week. And then I have kind of 2 sleeper picks to look out for. Normally, I'd finish this list off with Kyle Larson and somebody else. Maybe Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, something like that. But I'm going to go 2 sleeper picks, 2 guys who have performed well here. Zane Smith has only had 2 races, but he's performed well in both of them. He had a great race last weekend at Nashville. Yeah, there was some strategy, but he was also fast. He showed some speed at Charlotte. I think that Zane Smith is maybe one of the faster Ford teams right now. At a track Ford likes, Zane Smith is also good here. I think Zane Smith finds a way to have a good day. Even if he doesn't qualify well, I think you'll find his team in the top 15, top 10 running well. And maybe some strategy or maybe some things break his way, even a top 5. And then Eric Jones, this is his hometown track. He's one of the 3 Michigan drivers. A Michigan driver has yet to win at Michigan. The 3 you're looking for this weekend are Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, and Carson Hocevar. Hocevar has a win this year. Brad has been fast here and obviously is a former Cup champion. Eric Jones has been running well in the next gen era that quietly Legacy Motor Club is getting more consistent top 15 speed. If you look at some of their recent finishes, Eric Jones has been good here. I think Eric Jones could very well find his way to a solid finish. And obviously, the dream of winning at his hometown track, maybe that comes true, although that's a little bit more unlikely. But I think Eric Jones will continue to show why he has speed at this track this weekend. Regular season standings, and Denny Hamlin has that deficit to Tyler Reddick back under 100 points. It's been at 100. It goes from the high 90s up to the 120s, but right now Denny Hamlin has it at 97. Can he run down Tyler Reddick? Not if Reddick keeps on running as well as it's going to take a lot of wins from Denny Hamlin to get there. But Denny Hamlin kind of solidly in the second, comfortable. He's 97 back of Reddick, but then Blaney, who is in third, is 77 back of him, 67 back of him. So Denny Hamlin has, you think, even if he finishes dead last, around a whole race advantage on Blaney, just as Tyler Reddick has around maybe a little bit more whole race advantage on him. So Reddick and Hamlin are kind of separating themselves in first and second from the rest of the pack. Then, as I said, you have Blaney at 483. This will tell you a lot. Tyler Reddick is at 657. Denny Hamlin is at 560. And then nobody else is even in 500 since Ryan Blaney is at 483. That tells you how good those two cars have been this year. Chase Elliott is up to fourth place with 460 points, only 23 back of Blaney. Ty Gibbs, 449, 11 back of Elliott. And those three guys in third, fourth, and fifth, Blaney, Elliott, and Gibbs, are kind of in their own area right now. They are also race winners. There's only 3 multi-race winners, and we're pretty deep into the season. I guess that's what happens when Reddick has won 5. But Blaney, Elliott, and Gibbs are only separated by 34 points. So that tells you how close those 3 cars are. Then you get to the next kind of tier below them. Kyle Larson is 409 points, 40 points below Gibbs. Just 10 points back of Larson is Christopher Bell at 399. 6 points back of Bell is Buescher at 393. Buescher, by the way, has fallen a couple spots the last couple weeks, while Bell has gone from like 13th to 7th in just a couple weeks, because it gets close here. It gets closer and closer the farther back these points get. And still in that group, Carson Hocevar is just 10 back of Chris Buescher at 383. And then Daniel Suarez at 378 in 10th. So a lot of close drivers from 6 to 10 that could really move up and down multiple positions any race. Again, and that's Larson from 409 to Suarez at 378. So that's only a 31-point separation between 6th and 10th. So that tells you how close that group of drivers is. And then you get to 11th, where William Byron, lower than he's been in a long time, especially to this point in the season, he starts a new tier at 352. And then Shane Van Gisbergen has moved up to 12th, gained another spot in the points this week. He's only 4 points back of William Byron at 348. Who would have thought Van Gisbergen and Byron would be separated by 4 points this deep into the season? Not a lot of people would have seen that coming. Brad Keselowski's only 1 back of Van Gisbergen in 13th with 347. Briscoe moving up another spot at 343. His good week helped get him separation from the cut line. He's 4 points back of 13th. And then Bubba Wallace, despite everything, he's moved all the way down to 15th, but he still has a good advantage over the cut line. He's at 338 points, 5 back of Briscoe. And this is this next group, Byron to Bubba Wallace. Byron is in 11th at 352. Bubba Wallace is in 15th at 338. So they're only separated by 14 points, meaning they could come back looking completely different after Michigan with how different all of them are. Literally just stage points, even if they all DNF, just stage points could move these guys up or down significantly. And then you get to the drivers fighting on the cut line. Cindric currently is the last driver in the playoffs at 306. Ryan Preece has continued to fall the last couple of weeks. He's in 17th, but only 2 points back of Cindric. Logano still outside of the playoffs, a 3-time champion. Joey Logano at 297. He is 9 points back of his teammate. Michael McDowell has had a couple of good weeks. He's in 19th at 275. So he's 22 points back of Logano and 31 points back of the cut line. So they have some work to make up after you get by 18th with Joey Logano. And then Zane Smith with a couple of good back-to-back weeks has made it all the way up to 20th in the points, 34 back of the Cup Series playoffs with 272 points. So as you can see, there's already some there's starting to be separations between like different tiers of drivers and the seasons they've been having. There's 3 alone in the top 10, and then I kind of showed you where the tiers were. But if you're in a tier as a driver, obviously your goal is to make it the next year, but that means you can gain 3 or 4 positions in 1 week if you have a good week. And there's plenty of drivers who would love to do that. There's plenty of opportunity for adding between you and the cut line. I will be very interested to see if these drivers stay close together, which ones do stay close and which ones start to separate themselves this week at Michigan. Because Michigan, outside of a couple of drivers, has really been kind of chaotic in the next gen with new people coming and going all the time. And now for my power rankings, Tyler Reddick stays 1, but I think if Denny Hamlin gets the win this week and Tyler Reddick isn't in the top 3, it might be time for somebody other than Tyler Reddick to be first. Tyler Reddick has been first ever since he won the Daytona 500 to start the year, and he has not left first in the power rankings since because he's been so dominant. But if Denny Hamlin continues his charge towards Reddick, maybe Denny Hamlin can finally overtake him. Ryan Blaney is third. This is where the power rankings really start because everybody should have Reddick and Hamlin 1, 2. Ryan Blaney, I have third. He had a solid day. I think he honestly didn't finish as good as his car was, but he still got a top 10, so that's good. He's up to third in points. Ryan Blaney, number 3, going to a track Ford historically is good at. Elliott Ford just had a solid normal Chase Elliott day. He's still a 2-race winner who's top 5 in points. Gibbs was the worst finisher out of his teammates. When your teammates finish 1, 2, and 3, maybe that's not the worst thing. Didn't finish in the top 10 like he probably should have. Ty Gibbs hanging out in 5th. Christopher Bell, I think, was the fastest car in the race on Sunday, and he still didn't win. He's on a super long winless streak. I have Christopher Bell at 6. He's hot, though. He's had a lot of good finishes, which is why he's climbing the points as quickly as he is. Christopher Bell, I have at number 6. Kyle Larson had some good speed until he wrecked at the end. He's still 6th in points. He's still doing okay. But Christopher Bell was good enough to get by him in my power rankings this week. Josefar kind of just staying put at 8, not really under assault from too many people behind him. Just had an okay day. It seemed like he was in the middle of the pack a lot, causing a lot of trouble as he normally does. Buescher, not a great day, getting caught up in some other messes. Again, I feel like I'm always seeing Buescher around wrecks, and he's very rarely the calls are involved in that. He's just getting collected in other people's messes. That's part of the reason why he's fallen in the point standings. He's all the way down to 9 in my power rankings. I have Shane Van Gisbergen in top 10 because he's on a hot stretch. He's having the best oval stretch of his career. He won in the month of May. There's another road course coming up. Can Shane Van Gisbergen find speed at Michigan? Because if he can, and he can stay close in points, he might be top 10 in points leaving that San Diego street course. Daniel Suarez had another okay, solid day. Was able to get in 11th, or was able to collect some points is really what I should say, was Suarez. He's still top 10 in points. Give me Daniel Suarez in 11. Briscoe had a good points day. This time he got the stage points, and he got the finish, unlike the Coca-Cola 600. Chase Briscoe is up to 12. Maybe this team is about to get that summer hot stretch they did last year and start to climb up where they should be in the point standings. William Byron down to 13 after a 30th place finish, continuing to lose ground to some of the people ahead of him in points. Brad Keselowski, another guy with a rough day, has moved down to 14th in the power rankings. Bubba Wallace, another guy getting caught up in somebody else's mess, down the 15 in the power rankings, still had some speed at times. Logano, I have up to 16th. He had a solid day, top 15 finish, going to a track he's been good at. Logano's going to be looking to be in the playoffs leaving Michigan, which is absolutely on the table. Zane Smith with a great day, going to in Nashville and going to a track where he's also really good at Michigan. He's in the top 20 in points. He's making up ground on the cut line these last couple weeks. I have Zane Smith at 17. Ryan Preece continue just like he is falling in the points, is falling in the power rankings. He's been Mr. Consistency, but now he's getting caught up in some other people's messes. He's not being as consistent with placement. Ryan Preece down to 18 for me. Austin Cindric with a rough week. He's at 19, still hanging on in the playoffs, but not showing some of the speed he needs to be able to hold off people behind him. And Michael McDowell had a good race, was racing in the top 5 for a little bit. Obviously didn't finish there, but still had a solid race. He's also in the top 20 in points. Michael McDowell, 20th in the power rankings. That's all I have for you guys this week. Please put in the comments below who you think is going to win this week and any other hot takes you might have about 2/3 of the way through the regular season. Please, please, please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on X. NCAA baseball super regionals, if they're anything as crazy as the regionals were, you're going to want to watch. The NBA finals, the Stanley Cup finals have both been awesome in their starts. I highly recommend finding a couch and watching this. Plenty of sports on, so make sure you find a couch and watch some sports this weekend. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. It's a crazy world out there. Peace out.